Let us check the relationship status. Oh, Luke really likes her. Hannah likes her, but Isabella, of all people, even like her even more than Luke likes her. Wow, I am surprised. We maxed out Isabella. Shame Isabella's probably dead. Yeah. Not many people except for Luke like her. And we maxed out Zachary. Then we have Rebecca, Ashton, and Luke left. An email from the Wrights came requesting Marianne's expertise in bed. Marianne went to the crawl bar for a night out. We already read this. Is there more? Oh, new. Marianne and Whiskey went back to her condo after having one too many drinks. However, Marianne changed her mind about the one-night stand and ended up sharing tea with him instead. The next morning, the stranger left nothing but a note and a bottle of painkillers. That's so odd. And here's the letter, just right there. Always, I think the color has changed. Wasn't it much redder? Has it gotten darker? Did the blood start to age? I don't know. Marianne befriended Rebecca Gales during a visit to the library. Marianne received a call from Rose Cooper afterwards informing her that the Ermengarde Mansion's floor plans were ready to pick up at their office. And that's where we are. Here. The very odd looking Isabella. I have stamped down my annoyance at being distracted. Seeing the girl, the young woman, though, it looks like she has a lot on her mind. If babbling is her way of dealing with stray thoughts, I'm not really the one she should be babbling to. How should I respond? I guess both of these just sound kind of rude, and she will probably say both of them very rudely, so I give her time to speak up. Oh, maxed out with Isabella, who's probably dead. But when she just stares, I clear my throat.
Yes? You have something to say?
Wow, barely polite. As embarrassment creeps up on her face, I snatch one of the coffees from her and take a sip because just found out she puts alcohol in it. Too hot. Just too hot.
Just thinking and speaking off the record, it must be fun what you do. You go to people's houses and you make them, well, pretty. You're sharing your art with them.
It's a little bit more complex than that.
It's more complex than art and making them look nice.
But if you put it that way, it is fun. I wouldn't have done it for 7 years if it wasn't a little bit fun, I guess.
These big clients always have paintings in their homes. Do you have a supplier for art pieces?
Are you volunteering? I didn't expect to hear such questions from her, seeing how well she handled herself yesterday, which was not at all. I didn't doubt then why she was assigned to an important sale like the Ermengarde Mansion, despite the little accident she had. Now, she just looks too young, too nervous, and unsure of herself, although her enthusiasm must make up for that in spades. In fact, I wouldn't have believed it if she had introduced herself the way she is at the moment. Why, watching her now, she actually looks like she should still be in college. Acts a bit like it too, when I think about it. I thought she was a teen slumming it out in the mansion when I first saw her there, lying on the ground. She was lying on the ground. Where were we during this? Surprise, surprise! She turned out to be one of the estate agents handling the property.
The clients usually support artists of their own choice. If they don't, I'm always happy to refer those that I know.
That's cool.
They're very picky. I don't think a hobbyist will have an easy time getting their work sold.
Just gotta be unpleasant, Marianne, huh?
Hey, I'll have you know I was a student of the fine arts.
And yet, here you are, selling property. Maybe you weren't a very fine student of the arts.
Dear gods, Marianne, seriously. Is that really necessary? Maybe I took it that a bit too far. Yeah, why are you being so hostile? She bites her cheek, and it looks like she's barely holding herself back, and she should just have at it.
It's not like I had a choice.
She mutters it under her breath. I barely even hear it. But the hurt is there. No? Okay. And it makes me wonder what brought it on. The story has updated. There's a story, now there's a journal, there's a relation branching tree. Oh. Content, never mind. It makes me wonder what brought it on. Although it is understandable, if her reasons what I think it is, very few people make it big in the art world. I can see why she'd be upset about it with that enthusiasm. I didn't have a choice when I left Ireland. It was that or years of unemployment. The recession and the potato famine and the toll it took in the construction industry was out of anyone's control. I don't know what choice she wasn't able to make, whether it was about her being at art school or something else. But the world isn't a fair place. Because that's just an excuse not to try to make it a fair place, isn't it? And the sooner she accepts it, the better, so that the ones who are making it a not fair place can continue doing so. Still, with that forlorn look on her face, I can't help but sigh. The girl reminds me too much of myself when I was younger.
Well, if you're thinking of commissioning your paintings, I'll have to see your work first.
Oh, it's not... I didn't mean it like that. I don't have any paintings.
Really? You sounded a lot like you still did art or want to. Now I'm starting to worry that you might just like the smell of paint.
I'm not a paint huffer, sheesh.
See? There's the secret about all artists who paint. It's all those paint fumes. That's the secret to their art.
I just mean I don't make much anymore. I don't really have the time for it. The tools and materials aren't exactly cheap either.
Everything has a price. It sounds like you're making excuses for something you're presumably passionate about.
Wow, Marianne, just full in a china shop.
If you really want to practice art, a little out of your wallet isn't much.
It's not that simple.
It's not. Life's simple. People just like to make it complex.
There's no shades of gray. It's only black and white. All there is, right, Marianne?
Speaking off the record, I have some advice for you, kid.
Jeez. Yeah, and then finish up with condensation.
Either go for what you want, or stop thinking about it when you have something else.
Condensation.
That is unless you enjoy making yourself miserable, then by all means.
God's her father. She's supporting her father's healthcare addiction.
You know, if you wanted to look at the floor plans without me bothering you, you could have just said so.
Would you have left me alone?
We'll never know now, will we?
A strained air settles in the room afterwards. It doesn't help that she doesn't immediately leave, as she has said, lingering awkwardly by the door with that downcast expression. It's clear there's more she means to say, perhaps even to defend herself and her choices in life. Or she is expecting me to dish out more of that advice. It's an awkward affair, and I choose to hightail out of the realty office as quick as I can. Though I am unable to keep myself professional at all times, does not mean I like it. And seeing that most of the day has already gone by before I realized it, I choose to head back to my flat instead. despite today being a Saturday. No fun, but at least this way I can definitely avoid another unpleasant encounter. Considering how much I'll be seeing whiskey in the near foreseeable future, I have a feeling I'll need all the rest the weekend can give me. For the first time in a long while, excited as I am to work on the mansion, cannot wait to be over and done with this project. October 24th, Monday. Monday couldn't come any sooner. After taking the floor plans from Miss Santos the day before the last, I spent most of my Sunday drawing up plans and calling in my suppliers. Although no design choices have been made yet, I am quite sure that they'd want high-end appliances, the most expensive materials, and the most pretentious everything. They usually did, these rich types, based from experience at least. Given how badly this whole thing started, it wouldn't hurt to be prepared. I have to check myself, make sure I'm not playing with my gloves as one of the other building tenants takes the elevator up with me. What does that have to do with anything? It makes me self-conscious, playing with my gloves, when the woman's eyes go over me and I'm sure she was going to point out some perceived flaw in my physical appearance or my gloves. But I'm saved from being paranoid about my gloves when they went off a few floors later. Still, the ride up to my floor is glove-playing nerve-wracking. The Wrights lived at the very top. Penthouse, the creme de la creme when it comes to condominium and urban living. Just getting access to the place is an ordeal of its own. And easier access in case you need to jump off the building. Maybe that's a secret. I had to jump, aha! So many hoops, so many security checks, just to secure a key card. Not only because of building management, but because of the Wrights' personal security. It sometimes felt like I'm being interrogated for a crime, and not visiting a client at their home. Even when their personal assistant called in to help out and verify my presence, the process is aggravated rather than hastened because that's the only power those people have in their lives. Speaking of the devil and powerlessness, the Cache Penthouse. The elevator door opens and I am greeted by none other than Whiskey's not-so-little lackey.
I do apologize if I kept Mr. and Mrs. Wright waiting. But I'm here now and I'm ready, so if I may, where are they?
They've just woken up, but they should be down soon.
Soon being at least 4 hours.
I'm surprised to see you made it through security. And only 5 minutes late.
Usually they shoot people.
You said I'd be through security soon, and it took half an hour. Define soon in this context.
You're still alive, aren't you?
I'd make myself comfortable if I were you. I'm going to go and put the kettle on.
About the tea, I don't want to intrude or anything.
The sir does not like being woken up by the whistling. But who am I to deny tea to a guest?
She shows me to the couch before drifting off towards the kitchen, quietly pulling out a teapot, cups, and a lack of an Oxford comma, and all sorts of other things in preparation for tea. I ignore the animosity towards his employer that his words implied. I wouldn't be too surprised if Whiskey's own people don't like him. Accepting the quiet and isolation instead, I brace myself for what's to come. In this case, soon apparently means more than 5 minutes or even 10. I almost read that as I sit in their living room just waiting. I sit in their living room just waiting. And when the kettle starts whistling and the tea has been served, I continue to wait and shit. At least The silence is relaxing. But then there's a crash. I nearly spilled tea all over my lap in surprise, and I look up expecting security to come running and shooting. Even the man at the kitchen counter continues to fix breakfast like he heard nothing because domestic abuse. I don't want to speak up about it because he looks far too absorbed in his cooking and trying to ignore it, and I don't want to be the cause of burnt food or another slap. However, there's something in me that just wants to figure out what that was, although I am normally not this noisy. Perhaps it's the sculptures. They're too, tentacly. What should I do? Let's go check it out. The crash came from the hallway, and I really shouldn't be snooping about. But it's concern. Yeah, concern. Concern that urges me to check it out. Sneaking a glance at the butler, I consider sneaking off, but...
Excuse me, but where's the loo?
Oh, good cover. He barely looks my way before pointing a spatula towards the hallway, just vaguely answering the question, considering there's so many other doors I could probably have to check. An opportunity to intrude upon people fornicating or domestic abusing. It's a good excuse as any. And if I'm caught lingering longer than I should, I just excuse myself and say that I wasn't sure which door led to where. Oh, we should not have done this. We should have realized this was going to be ghost time. Oh well, it's good for her to have some ghostly opportunities. Still, looking into the hallway reveals nothing. I don't see anything that might have caused the crash. The hallway, like the rest of the place, is in pristine condition. There are several doors for not only the toilet, but also presumably rooms for their butler and other members of the staff. As I stand there, however, something feels definitely out of place. Probably that flickering light. One of the doors, the nearest within my reach, stands ajar, and from inside, a light flickers incessantly. It could simply be a light bulb that needs replacing, or the electrical needs work. But the thought of it in a place so well taken care of seems odd. Off. I think that maybe this is where the crash came from. It's great every time I read out loud. I get a stuffy nose. Inside, I can spy a radio lying on the floor. That's probably it, right? Maybe one of the help, in a hurry to get out of the room, knocked over it in the process. That's all it is. I should really leave it alone. As I turn to leave, the sound of static fills the air, and a man's tinny voice interrupts the silence.
At 7 in the morning, students found a 5th year dead.
Oh, jeez. Why am I still standing here?
Assumed to have fallen from her dormitory window.
Morbid curiosity. This seems familiar, doesn't it?
Authorities are investigating the possibility of foul play.
Like I've heard it before.
Reporting from St. Samthins, Shane McLaughlin of Galway Bay, AM.
Oh, wow. All right. Oh, yeah. That got me. I recoil, backing away from whatever that was. In the process, I trip backwards on my feet and I wait for the pain of falling flat on my back. But instead, I feel a hand upon my back and see the smug smile of, well, guess who?
Oh, don't tell me you're reporting to work drunk, Mint.
Of course, I know exactly who that voice belongs to. It just has to be him.
Marianne McCullough, hammered on the job? That would be something.
But
Wouldn't dream of it, Whiskey. You're allowed to be if you wanted, though it's a bit early for it. So thanks for the save.
really, it is much appreciated compared to hitting one's head and then dying. Even though the circumstances during our first meeting were not savory or wholesome, I can't bring myself to completely look at Mr. Wright in a bad light. Nothing came of it after all.
It's no trouble at all. I've been told I have a gift for catching pretty ladies, being a great catch myself.
Oh my god.
Is that so? Would you say you'll be able to catch if another man were to pitch?
Oh!
Perhaps, but I wouldn't know.
Hey, first time. Don't knock it till you try it. I don't know.
I don't play baseball. Mint.
He doesn't even pitch.
Right. Of course you don't.
I can't help but chuckle at my little joke, but it looks like it completely went over his head. If he had understood it, I guess it would have been inappropriate. He is my client. After all, he called you Mint. Come on, you guys are having a little moment here. Speaking of which, where's the missus? Whatever little camaraderie I had with Whiskey is forgotten, however. Oh, he likes it, I guess. I straightened up and glanced behind him, only to find that he's on his own. Mrs. Wright is still absent. I still remember my place and why I'm here. To continue in such a manner with her husband would feel like a breach of trust between my client and I. After all, you almost banged him.
Since you are here, I don't suppose Mrs. Wright is on her way down? It is 10:30 after all.
Hey, if they're paying you by the hour, don't complain.
She'll be down here in a moment. For now, you have me.
It didn't happen the first time. It's not gonna happen this time.
Can't I just chat with a good friend?
I don't think a night where we talk like two drunk Egypts makes us good friends.
Egypts? I've heard idiots, but not Egypts. Is that what they say over there? Egypts?
And if you have any bit of sense, it's better to forget that night ever happened.
What? Why not? It was a good night, if a bit boring.
Yeah, you guys, met through drinks.
You know exactly why. We both know what your intentions were that night. And to find out that you're married? If there's even an ounce of decency in you, if you'd like the world to be a little less messed up, you'll remember your wife and what you almost did to your Mrs. Wright.
Maybe they're, maybe they swing like that. Huh? Have you thought about that, Marianne? It's better to get that out of the way once and for all.
Well, no need to be such a killjoy about it.
The dead air between us, because it can't be anything else but that, is broken as a lively voice calls out from the loft.
Marianne! I hope I haven't kept you waiting too long. I know we agreed we'd start at 10 o'clock, but mornings just simply do not agree with me. Not one bit. It's been like this since I've been in university.
It's 5 minutes to 11 o'clock. These high-end clients sure like to be fashionably late. I'm used to it, though. Much like how I'm used to so many years of hearing people mispronounce my goddamn name. Besides berating or correcting my client would be extremely impolite. Ooh, what did I do? I hit the wrong button. Marianne doesn't sound too bad when she says it like that. To be fair, it doesn't seem like she's late on purpose.
I see you're up, darling. You know, you could have woken me up as well. Were you showing Marianne around? Not that there's much to see. This place is so tiny compared to the mansion.
I'm more worried about the way she stares at me, judging. Such a look. Doesn't suit her pretty face at all. just seeing Mrs. Wright reminds me too much of her. The one who got away. And maybe I'm starting to hear her again, see her again when I shouldn't. Next, we shall kidnap, what's her name, Hannah? And dress her up in whoever hers clothes were. I should have left it all behind, forgotten it. To think she would be looking at me that way. I can just feel my hands tremble.
Oh yes, just showing her around and getting to know each other. Isn't that right, Marianne?
Yes, of course. And your butler was making breakfast a while ago. So if you want to get right to that...
Breakfast would be lovely.
There is no denying the clients when they invite me over to the table or to a threesome. Though it is too personal to share a meal in their home, it would be terribly rude to deny their invitations. Besides, the pancakes did look and smell heavenly. A bowl of clotted cream, fruits, syrups, jams, and other spreads are laid out next to them, making for a colorful arrangement. If this was a brunch with friends, I would have gladly helped myself to the whole lot. But as it is, I accepted just a few pieces of pancakes and topped it off with lemon and sugar.
You know, I was a tiny bit serious when I said I wanted a helipad.
And you're not serious about the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables?
Well, I do want those too, but I know you'll agree to those.
We're talking about interiors here, honey.
An interior helipad.
You don't handle exterior designs and whatever handles those sorts of projects do you, Marianne?
I'm able, actually, and willing to take a project of that nature. I was an architect in Ireland before. Of course, that's another contract entirely. I also suggest we finish the house itself before working on any additions to the rest of the property. There won't be any problems about ownership this time, will there?
They only own the inside of the house, they do not own the property, or the outside.
Pardon if I'm crossing a line, but the acquisition was rather quick.
That's what obscene amounts of money does.
Oh, don't you worry. We've got everything sorted this time around. I've talked to Miss Cooper and Mr. John from BRC, as well as the old owners. Everything has been paid in full, and all we're waiting for is the paperwork from the land registry. They're letting us move in as soon as we please.
Bribery.
It's not like they were living there in the first place.
That's good to hear. The problems that could arise from renovating another person's home would be... well, let's not dwell on it.
And money could fix that too.
First off, we'll want to know how you want the place to look. It's pretty furnished as is, but I understand if you want to modernize the whole thing.
Actually, I'd prefer to keep the place looking as it is, but at the same time, I want modern appliances. You worked on the Ludgate's Christchurch summer residence. I do remember there being an oven I thought was a simple drawer before. Make them look vintage, antique, blended with the rest of the decor.
Customize appliances then. I can't find someone for that, and if you can't tell me what you specifically want, it'll hasten up the process. We're talking about electronic appliance manufacturers. If you have a preferred brand to work with.
Splendid! So, what is next on our agenda? All the other interior designers we've hired in the past did not have us this involved.
I stop. They've hired other interior designers? What sort of half-baked designer did that? If I knew who they were, I would have words. This isn't the time or place for it, however. Instead, I use this brief pause to pull out the floor plans that I brought with me. So flustered.
We'll have to figure out what you want to do with the rooms. Here, we can have a quick run through.
What is that little room next to the master's bedroom?
Yes. What is that? Quarters. It's a little odd. I can't see. Oh, attic. Oh, that's so weird.
Oh, as far as I could tell when I saw it, it's a second bedroom of sorts.
It's for the servant or the live-in mistress.
Used, apparently, for the ladies in waiting who has served Lady Charlotte Ermengarde, which is strange, as that isn't the norm for these sorts of houses.
Well, we're not stuffing Johans in there. He won't fit. You don't suppose we could turn it into a walk-in closet and a dressing room?
I love fashion, but do we really need to turn an entire room into a walk-in closet, dear? We'll have large closets and a wardrobe in the bedroom already.
Says the one who takes 3/5 of our closet. Well, what do you suggest we do with it?
I thought a utility room of some sort would be nice. A craft room where I can do fun things.
Right beside the bedroom. Odd.
Or maybe a children's room might be nice. You know, for when Kylie comes over.
Right
or if
beside.
Rochelle visits once she's had a baby.
Right beside the bedroom. That is awkward.
1, you are not inviting that witch. And 2, there's a whole mansion for Kylie to play in.
Yes. Throw her into the theater. Throw her into the music room. Do not have her in the room beside the master bedroom. You'll never get laid again.
We don't need a children's room, and you don't even do arts and crafts. I'd like to turn the guest's room and the study into my personal office, by the way, if you don't mind.
No guests. Awesome.
You can turn it into a personal office if I can have my utility room. It's just the one room of the many. I'm taking that room for myself, no matter what you say, dearie. So you might as well take this deal. You're always out doing business anyway. The real problem is the theater. Whatever are we going to do with all that space?
Leave it as a theater? Come on.
Fine, we could turn it into our own personal cinema, I suppose. Might as well have it, if you plan on not having a telly in the parlor.
Yes, well, I don't want guests to be glued to the telly when they come over for a meal and some tea. By the looks of things, we can keep the rooms as what they are on the ground floor, though. The ballroom would be perfect for parties.
Do we really need a dining hall, though? I don't suppose we can't convert it into a garage.
What's this dining hall? The parlor? Oh, why would they turn that into the garage and still have the kitchen as the kitchen? That is very odd.
What for? You can park your cars outside.
Just build a separate house for your cars.
What about that room? Right there, in the northeast corner.
Northeast. Where's the northeast? Study room or the basement?
That's sleeping quarters for the household help?
Oh, they don't need to sleep.
Oh, that is perfect. Johans will be glad if we have other staff members who stayed in.
Staff member sleepover.
It'd be convenient so they don't have to make the trip from Luxspawn to the mansion when they're needed.
They can just always be working.
You'll definitely need a lot more people to maintain a property of this size.
The mansion is really a lot bigger than I thought. Look at all these rooms. I didn't even know there was a music room next to the parlor because of what happened.
There was a grand piano in there too, when we checked during the tour.
Did you hear that, Luke? Maybe you can take up playing the piano again. Oh, you should have seen him when we were younger, Marianne.
5 years ago.
It's not like I was very good with the thing.
Oh, hush you. You were no Mozart, but I loved hearing you play nonetheless. He'd come over to my home and he'd play such fun tunes. He'd sing too and I'd dance and it was just...
He had nothing to talk about. Been there. Mr. Wright playing the piano? I can't imagine it. But the earnest way in which Mrs. Wright said so told otherwise.
Anyway, what do you think of these plans, Marianne?
Are we not even going to consider one of my requests? Not even just a closet or just a garage?
You got the exterior.
Now, that isn't fair, is it? You're not the only one who's going to be living here.
I hardly see how that's unfair. I told you you're getting your office and your theater, the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables. That sounds fair, does it not, Marianne?
Oh my god, the project's doomed from the beginning. This will be the catalyst for the divorce. Well, we can compromise. Oh, Hannah didn't like that. I really wish they didn't look at me like that and drag me into the middle of their argument. I hate when couples do that. This is their decision to make, or where they argue and you can't get away from them because you're driving the car. Or you're a passenger. and they're arguing, and you just want to step out into traffic. But if they want to ask for a professional's point of view, I'll be happy to give my 2 cents, which is stop arguing in front of me.
You can still have a garage.
See, Marianne agrees with me. Thank you.
But the structural integrity of the mansion might be at risk if we try to turn the dining hall or any of the rooms into a garage. Taking down one of the exterior walls might hit one of the support beams. And with a mansion that old, I'd rather not risk it, especially without closer inspection. There's always compromise, of course.
I suppose that's better than nothing. Better than flat out saying no.
Mrs. Wright does have a point. There's plenty of space for a garage outside of the mansion itself. If you'd like a covered parking space, we can arrange something on the grounds instead.
How is Hannah pissed about that?
Then we better go there. I want to see where we can build a garage.
Yes, no time like the present. You want a thorough inspection? Might as well do it now. We actually took another look at the property yesterday, though it was brief. But I'm sure you would want to see it yourself, to spot anything we might have missed.
It's not like I have much of a choice, do I? And this is a good place to stop. Till next time, when we see just how bad of a disaster this turns out.